Oh, didn't see you there. Sorry. Allow me into your personal space. And I'd like to ask you, have you bought a drum machine yet? Well, why not? Oh, you were waiting for part 2 of our great drum machine review. Well, here it is. Sorry it's taken so long. I have been at home combing my hair, but let's get to it. First cab off the rank is the Perkons HT-01. Perkons being the Baltic god of lightning and thunder, and Erica Synths have hit it out the ballpark with this mega drum machine. Sound-wise, we've got 4 voices. That is digital sound engines and wavetable. But the great thing is we have multi-mode filters, low pass, band pass, and high pass for each sound. There's different algorithms. There's no screen. And this goes beyond the traditional drum machine sounds. So if you want something to really complement or something that's way out there, this is it. This has that sound that you may be looking for. Let's have a quick listen. Of course, going through this is not going to do it justice. And all the sounds are somewhat interchangeable as well. So luckily, Perkons have called them voice 1, 2, 3, and 4 because it doesn't have to reside with the traditional bass drum, snare, hi-hat, and clap, or what have you. So you're free to really sculpt your sound here. And it's very hands-on. It invites you to actually play and manipulate the sounds. With all the voices, you can actually drone the sound by turning the decay all the way up, such as like so. So much more of a percussion synthesizer as well. On the front panel as well, we have a bucket brigade delay as well, where you can send certain amounts to the bucket brigade delay. We also have a compressor and a master send as well, which is interesting because around the back is where this machine also excels. So we actually have a master send and return where you can use an external effects unit to send the sounds to and return to the machine. Not only that, per sound also has a send and return. We also have a trigger per sound as well if you didn't want to use the onboard sequencer, but I actually really like this onboard sequencer. More on that in one moment. We've also got your MIDI in and out. You've also got everything on an SD card, which saves all the patterns and kits and sounds as well. Now, there's no samples here, so it really is all synthesis from the front panel as well. Let's hear some more sounds. Let's get jamming. Sequencer-wise, it kind of follows a traditional XOX or Roland style 808, 909 kind of sequencer. There's no screens. I really love that there is no screens here. Everything is straight in front of you. We also have automation where you can automate the settings here per step as well. It's very easy. You just go into record and you just twist and play and record. Also, there's some lovely different modulation destinations. It does have an LFO, or what they call a modulation here, with different shapes that you can assign to different parameters across the drum machine. Also, the delay has its own LFO as well. Quite handy. There's lots of different like clock dividers. There is groove, multiplication. I don't even know what I'm talking about. All I know is it sounds good, it grooves, and invites live performance. You've got to check this out. This is quite a monster. One thing I really love about the Perkons is that you can save multiple kits and you can keep rewriting over it, but you can switch them whilst you're playing back, I should say. So it's just holding down kit and it goes like this. It just invites improvisation and being able to really feel and mold your sound over time as well. Next up, Elektron Digitakt. Their first Takt, or their smaller box from 2017, still going strong, has a cult following amongst everyone from hip-hop beat makers to techno and everything in between. Now, this one's a little bit different, whereby it plays back samples. It has a 1 gig hard drive full of sounds, and of course it doesn't have to just play back percussive sounds or drum sounds. You can load it with whatever you like as well. Now, it is a 8-voice drum computer and sampler, so you can actually sample things in as well. And it also has an 8-track MIDI sequencer as well. So I know some producers who use this as the center of their studio. Now, I'll play a couple of patterns here, but of course, this is only the preloaded stuff that comes with it. Of course, you can explore whatever you like. That's just a very quick example of some of the stuff that's in there, but I'm not really doing it justice. Now, the great thing is it does have 2 filters per voice as well. You've got your delay and reverb. There's even compression as well. You get the great Elektron sequencer with the parameter locking, and you can use that as well as on the MIDI sequencer as well to control external stuff as well. Around the back, we've got your left and right, in and out, your MIDI out and through, and they also double as DIN sync as well. You've also got USB for transferring samples as well, but you can actually sample into the machine directly. A great small package. I love the clackety-clack of the buttons, and so do a lot of other people. One thing I really love about the Digitakt is its high quality sound. Now, some people say that this sounds a bit better than the other Elektron boxes. I'm not sure. I just know it sounds really pristine. Now, let me show you what I really love about this and how fun it gets. You know this sample? Of course you do. Now, Elektron recently updated the firmware with 4 new machines for manipulating your samples. Let me just show you what you can do with just one sample in here. Lots of fun, and I'm only scratching the surface. Digitakt, legendary box, cult following. Check it out for yourself. Here we have the LXR-02, the sonic portions, and Erica Synths digital drum machine. Cool. So the LXR-02, where did the LXR-01 go? Good question. Well, Sonic Potions used to have the LXR-01 as a kit and slightly bigger drum machine as well. So it's great to see Erica Synths collaborating here. And I've got to say, this is probably one of the most feature-rich, small box drum machines I've come across in recent times. Saying, so what does it sound like? Well, you heard a little bit. So the sound engine has 6 voices with 2 oscillators per voice. Also, the sequencer is quite feature rich, so you could almost get more than what sounds like 6 voices out of it. Along here, you've got sliders per voice as well, and it's got drum, 1, 2, 3, snare, clap, and hi-hats. But again, they're more suggestions than they are actual sounds themselves. Now, this is a fully digital engine, but it has a great multi-filter. There are over 30 parameters per voice that you can manipulate. This thing packs a wild punch and a lot of depth. Great for techno, electro, ambient, and everything in between. Around the back, we've got all the regular connections, including left and right main out. You've also got a out 2 left and right, which you could also, if you were clever and you pan them correctly, so you could almost have 4 outputs as well. You've got full-size MIDI, USB, and you've got your synchronization, and you've got your little SD card where everything is saved upon. Let's get to more jamming. As I've been banging on in these videos, it's not just the sound of the drum machine, but also the sequencer and how it manages those events over time. The LXR-02 doesn't disappoint either. The sequencer is actually very quick and immediate to use, but it also has a generative or Euclidean rhythm sequencer as well, if you'd like to get into it. And it also has recordable automation, and it's also per step, and you just simply put it into record mode and away you go. Really simple. We've got some events here. I'm going to now add more of this kind of low tom bass sound, just so you can hear it. I just put it into record, and I'm just going to play with the coarse filter, coarse tuning of it. Let's change the filter as well. Okay, so I'm not going to win any awards with that, but you get the point. What I love about the LXR, that it is fully digital, and again, it offers a real alternative to those traditional sounding drum machines, but you can pretty much craft it in traditional territory as well. Have I just contradicted myself? No, because this is a great box, wide palette of sounds. You can really dial it in, and you've got those great filters to really carve it out and make it sound almost analogy as well. And the Euclidean rhythms and the generative sequencer really sets this apart. And they also do a Eurorack version of this as well. Nice work, Erica Synths and Sonic Potions. Check it out for yourself. Here it is, the big boy. The hamburger with the lot, including the pineapple, the beetroot, the onions, the bacon, whatever you want. This has got it. This is Elektron's Analog Rytm MkII. I know you liked my Swedish accent just there. This is Elektron's flagship drum machine, or flagship box, I would say. This is an 8-voice, 12-track drum machine, fully analog path. It comes with the great Elektron sequencer. It is a percussion synth as well, and it also has a dual VCO synth built into one of their engines as well. This really incorporates the two effects, LFOs, the two-pole filter, the filter envelopes, the amp envelopes. It has everything. Enough of me talking. You want to hear some of the 4096 sounds that you can shape yourself. It has a sample engine and heaps of performative features as well. Let's hear it. Okay, that's really just a very quick taste of some of the sounds. But again, everything is fully customizable, as well as being able to layer your sounds with samples and being able to sample as well. So this truly is the center of your beat making studio, if you're into that. Around the back, we've got all the regular features, but this also comes with individual outputs for each of the 8 voices as well. You've got your audio in, your external in, so you can actually affect some external devices as well, and it has a great compressor and overdrive on it as well. I'm telling you, this thing has got a lot, and I'm not going to cover it all in this small section. We've got your MIDI in, out, and through that also can double as DIN sync as well if you've got those old vintage boxes as well. You've got 2 control ins, yes, modular synthesis, and also USB for transferring to and from your computer, and also overbridge enabled as well, which makes it really easy to also customize your sounds as well. On the front panel, you've got the pressure sensitive pads, and in different modes, they act and do different things, such as chromatic, mute, or just seeing them play back. And the great thing is if a sound has delay, you'll still see it blinking, or as the sound dissipates in volume, you'll still see it lingering on, which is great. Now, what else has it got? Well, what have I missed? Well, the sequencer. Have I been banging on about the sequencer? Yes. So Elektron kind of wrote the book on parameter locking and automated sequencing. So every parameter, be it the synth engine, be it the performance, be it the effects, can all be parameter locked. Let me show you. In this example, I'm not going to use any drum sounds. I'm actually going to use the synth engine in here. So I've got the same note across 16 steps. This is how easy it is. So from just one note, totally repeated, I've been able to change that by just holding down the step or the trigger in the Elektron world, and I'm just now playing with filter, effects, and also note as well. And we have jam to your taste. I could also put it into real-time record and also manipulate it. So that's just one of the things I love about Elektron boxes, and particularly the Analog Rytm, but the sound is phenomenal. When we talk about high quality sound, this really is up there, if not the highest. What I really love about the Analog Rytm, and it's completely unique to the Analog Rytm, is this scene and performance modes, which means it's like you have almost an alternative groove or way to affect some of the sounds or an individual sound. Now, the difference is scene is like an on-off effect where you set the parameters, and performance is based on amount of pressure, so you can actually slowly build that particular effect. Let me show you. Let's go with scene first. Here there's 2 scenes set up, they're in blue, and you listen, not watch, but actually listen. So I'm not changing the sequence, I'm just changing some of how the sounds are affected. And it's kind of on and off. Great performance tool. Let's move on to performance. They're in green. And as I push down harder on the pad, not sure if the camera's picking that up, but you can see it slightly change color as well as I push down harder and softer. Whether it's in the studio or as a live instrument, This really packs everything. I've said it 1,000 times. This has everything to explore, and just reviewing it in a few minutes here doesn't do it justice. I love the Elektron Analog Rytm MkII, and it's not just because I like saying the word rhythm. Check it out. The Roland TR-8s Rhythm Performer. Okay, here's the caveat. I have to declare I've been a big fan of the TR-8, and I did the launch for Roland many years ago, back in 2014. And I still love my TR-8, but the TR-8s is the pizza with the lot, including pineapple. Oh, there, I said it. Now, to tell you the truth, I was given a TR-8s a long time ago, but I didn't really spend that much time with it. I liked it, but I still like my TR-8s, my TR-8, I should say. We've got the TR-8s here on display and for me to review right here in this video. And I've got to say, with the new firmware, this thing it's insane. I'm sorry, you can do everything in this box, because in the TR-8s, and I have to refer to my notes because I'm old and I can't remember everything. So now you've got 3 ways of making sounds. You've got Roland's ACB, which is modeling their legacy drum machines, does a great job, fantastic. We've also got now samples. You'll see the SD card around the slot around the back. So you can now load your own samples. It comes with lots of samples as well. So there's 128 samples or more, I think, that you can load in here. You've got 128 patterns, 128 kits. And you've also got an FM synth. You heard me correctly, an FM synth. And an FM synth is great, not just for kind of synth tones, but also for percussion type sounds. All right, enough of me talking. Let's get to some jams. So with the TR-8s, the grown-up version of the TR-8, as I mentioned, all the sounds are highly editable. So we've got 11 tracks of drum machine sounds. We've also got the added control, which we can assign any parameter, including synth parameters, to each of these voices as well. Like I mentioned, we've got the reverb delay and the master effects and insert effects as well. You have 8 variations for each pattern. So whilst it may look like it only has 16 steps per pattern, you also have like 8 variations as well. Where are they variations? But you can also chain them as well for longer pattern lengths as well. I love the motion sequencing. It literally is just turn the motion sequencing on. So as you may have seen in the jams, I was doing a lot with some of the sounds and recording tuning and decay as well. Lots of fun. It's immediate and it's very playable. And I'd know something a little bit about that. Right, round the back. Let's have a look. So what we have is we've got more assignable outputs as well. So we now have 3 stereo pairs as well as your the external inputs. We have trigger out and also slot for your SD card for your samples. Full-size 5-pin MIDI in and out, and also USB, where you can actually multi-track your audio via USB and also MIDI over USB as well. So in summary, I'm sure I'm missing out on heaps of other features which I haven't just gone through, but I can tell you the 4 things I really love about this machine. As I mentioned, the motion recording, also the mixer. This is really clever. So up here, when you do a shift control select, you've got a mixer where you can actually see your overall tuning, decay, and sends as well in a really handy little screen. This is great for performing as well as in the studio. I love the FM synth. You may have heard the FM synth in one of the jams a couple of times. And also it has an undo function. So you can undo patterns and you can undo kits and instruments as well. So you can quickly change up those sounds for a great performative function as well. Well done, Roland. You really are serving a pizza that has everything on it. Hey, I love this, but Roland, you had me at hello. So let's play it out. Okay, here we have Korg's Drumlogue hybrid drum machine. One of the most anticipated drum machines, at least for me, of the past year. Now, Korg have learnt so much from their legacy. Now, people say, well, it's Korg's first fully featured drum machine, but truth be known, my first drum machine was a Korg KPR-77, and the Korg Drumlogue is about the same size as well. Go ask the internet. So, what makes up the Korg Drumlogue? We've got 4 analog, 6 digital, and then we have a user DSP kind of synth engine that you can load your kind of programs into, and also the 2 samples as well. Now, Korg have done a great job of fusing both worlds, analog, digital, and they've also taken cues from their sequences as well, along with their Volca legacy as well. But let's have a listen. I love the sound of the Drumlogue because there's a lot of depth in programming the sound as well. There's a lot of pages when it comes to a particular sound and choosing that sound and going through. There's filter, tuning, there's a lot underneath the hood here. I'm not going to go into it right now because there is way too much. So it is kind of deceiving. There is a lot of shift functions, but I'm telling you, it becomes quite intuitive once you learn your way around it. Front panel, so we've got for our analog sounds, we've got the decay, tuning and drive. And the kit goes into 808, 909 territory and well beyond. There's even a neat little feature where you can actually change the transient attack of the analog-based sounds, such as the snare and toms as well. So the dual sounds also come with a whole plethora of parameters that you can edit. But enough of that. Round the back, some more magic from Korg. So on the front as well, before we get to the back, we've also got individual pots for volume for each of the tracks as well. Now around the back, you've got your left and right main out. Then you've got 4 assignable outs. So you can assign any sound to any of the 4 outputs. You can't assign multiple sounds to one output, and fair enough as well. We've got an audio in, so the external audio can be routed through the effects. I haven't spoken about those just yet. We've got sync in and out, which is based on, I believe, on the Volca protocol. And we've got full MIDI 5-pin in and out. Then, come closer, you've got 2 MIDI ports here. One to host, which is where you would change and exchange your samples and firmware, then to device. So whilst it has a great little synth engine in it, it can be a bit tricky to play that tonally. But if you plug a MIDI keyboard in, then hit poly mode and away you go. You can program your synth line all in this box. Let's have another listen. So also packed into here, we have delay, reverb, and the Master Effects also has some neat little tricks, including compression and some EQ. So it makes this box, kind of pump and bump quite well. But what I really love about the Drumlogue is that not only does it sound great, but it also has some great performance features. You know me, I'm a big fan of how does the sequencer work. And so we've got all the motion sequencing, just like you do on the Volcas, perhaps a bit more sophisticated than that. But also it has this great loop function. You notice in some of the demos, I'm holding down some of these triggers and I can select whether I select or movement and whether they're randomized as well. So just bear with me for 1 sec. Let's take a nice little program here. Pretty straightforward. Now I'm in loop mode. Watch this. Straight away, I've got instant variation to perhaps just a 16-step pattern. And then in a moment, I can just hold down those particular tracks. So with the multi, you've got a choice of VPN, noise, and user. So just very quickly having a look, you've got like a little synth inside, which is pretty intuitive as well. So I can change the kind of preset there. And it makes for, it adds an extra element that's kind of tonal within your drum machine beats. We go to noise, and noise is so important when it comes to drum machines. You'll be amazed that even the digital and analog sounds has a little amount of noise, but here we have a noise engine on its own. And we can change the filter which the noise goes through. Then we have the user one. This one is the Sine Vibes log, as based on the log synths. And again, when I go into it, I can then change a whole lot of different parameters. Different waves, and I can create, and I can play that polyphonic if I had a MIDI keyboard here. So again, even that alone has quite some depth, and I'm not even doing it justice by how quickly I'm going through it. I love the size of it. As I said at the start, I think Korg are on a real winner here. Go check out our other videos on the Drumlogue, and well done, Korg. Novation Circuit Rhythm sampling drum machine. Now, this comes from Novation's Circuit line of products. This thing is portable, and I mean it's portable. Take a look. Do you see any power plugged in? You just see audio outputs. That's it. So it has a built-in lithium battery, up to 4 hours of playing. I don't know how long we've been here, but you'll see I ain't using it plugged in whatsoever. So what we have here is a 8-track or 8 polyphonic drum machine that is capable of sampling as well. Now I know the Circuit Tracks, I think, is the non-sampling one. This is something. Now this is the sampling version. Now I was a little bit skeptic about having this in this video, but it is a drum machine. And you know, look, we had the Digitakt in this video, so we've got to have the Circuit Rhythm as well. Now, took me a moment to get used to this, but once I got into it, it was actually very groovy. What a dorky word, but I'm telling you, this is actually, it's quite fun. And I am not even doing any sampling whatsoever. The great thing is that this thing has the real-time controls up here, and they're cleverly thought out. We've got things like tuning start, length, high pass and low pass filter. It has a great master filter that goes from high pass to low pass as well. I haven't even tried sampling, but even the inbuilt sounds are already very good and lend itself to a wide variety of genres. Enough of me talking, let's hear something. Let's take a look around the back. But I can tell you this is very light, and they haven't skipped on any of the outputs either. So we've got full-size MIDI, we've got your inputs and outputs, we have a mini jack for your headphone, and we've also got a USB-C which actually charges the internal battery and also hooks up to your computer as well. And there's a micro SD card. So this thing can hold about over 4,000 samples. Now each pad has about 32 seconds of sampling time as well. Now that's hell of a lot. And as you hear in some of the sounds that we've just been using the factory sounds that comes with this machine. I haven't loaded any samples whatsoever. You can actually hear that this gets quite melodic, and it lends itself again to tonal sounds as well as great percussion sounds as well. What I love about the Circuit Rhythm, as you've noticed when I've been jamming, is this thing called grid effects. So over here I can jam these effects, and I can set up per project how those effects also work for each project as well. Not only that, incoming audio can be affected by the grid effects as well. Other things I really love about the Circuit Rhythm as well is that I love these real-time controls up here. They've been well thought out. I know I'm repeating myself again. Also, the sequencer has motion sequencing as well, and per step motion sequencing as well, a la the Elektron and the Roland TR-8s. So all in all, a very handy, very portable, very powerful little drum machine, and sampler at that as well. It's rather intuitive. Novation have a great reputation and legacy with these kinds of little groove boxes and drum machines. Look, not forgetting the pads are actually velocity sensitive, and they're 32 RGB coloured buttons as well. The black ones, which are 28, they have a nice little click as well, so they feel different. So even in the kind of, working in the dark or low light areas, you'll know that you're actually hitting one of the black buttons or one of the, the center pads as well. There's no screen, and the pads work as a screen itself. Now, some may not like it, but I'm telling you, as soon as I got into a groove with this, it became rather intuitive very quickly. Lots to like about the Circuit Rhythm. I know lots of people who love these products. I'm becoming a big fan as well. Well done, Novation. So there you go. That's the end of part 2. Have you checked out part 1 yet? Don't you love my voice? Hey, why not tell us what you'd like to see in our next video? What drum machines haven't we covered? I don't know. You tell us in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you around.